Hi, everybody. Welcome to Stratosphere Lounge, episode 21. We may have done it right this time. May have got the music faded out just right, gotten all that stuff into shape for the first time ever. An episode launches correctly. I think if the space program or if any shipbuilding organization or anything had the same kind of luck that we have engineering-wise in getting the show launched, they would have been out of business a long time ago, but there's a first time for everything. So welcome to the Stratosphere Lounge, episode 21. And it's going to be a little bit different today. A little bit better, I think, in some ways. Because, as some of you may have noticed, the new improved Facebook... By the way, I know I'm not the first person to say this. I know everybody says this all the time ever, but has there ever been an upgrade to Facebook that people liked better? Have they ever done anything with that software, ever one time where it was better after they made their changes? Facebook now, I have a personal page. And many of you, by the way, good chance to mention this before we get started. Many of you have asked for friend requests. I think there's like 1,000 backed up. Friend requests only go to my personal page, and the reason I don't take them is because I don't want to look like an ingrate. I don't ever go to my personal page. I keep that for about 400, and that's a much bigger number than I would have liked. That's kind of for family members and high school friends and college friends. Most of my college friends were in the theater department. They're gigantic liberals, enormous liberals. And so I really don't go there very often. So anyway, I logged into my professional Facebook page, which I go to several times a day, and I posted the Stratosphere Lounge questions. But now Facebook lets me log in as either myself or myself. And I keep trying to log in as myself, but they mistakenly put me up as myself. And every time I go to change it from myself back to myself, they don't like it, and it comes up defaulting somewhere else. So I basically posted the questions on as a guest on my own page, which means we didn't get as many of them, which makes me feel better because the questions are so profoundly good. There's nothing more depressing than regarding the show. The only part about the show I genuinely don't like doing is I'll put the comments will be open for an hour or less sometimes, and there are 80 questions, and they're all great. And I often wish I could get to all of them, and I can't. And we're getting a bandwidth warning. So much for bragging about our engineering problems being maybe gone away. So if we have to restart. Anyway, all of that just to say that today we've got very few questions. Usually I have 3 pages of them. Today I've just got 1 page, and they're nice questions. They're not political so much. I'm a little tired of talking politics sometimes, so these are a little more offbeat. There are some political questions, but give us a chance to do something a little more relaxed this time, I think. So why don't we get started? Here we go. Episode number 21, and we'll lead off with Fard Mohammed, who said, again, this could be reserved for a video game-themed show, but I'm just curious. We've been asked to do a video game show for 100 years, haven't done one. So here we go. The question is, growing up, which video games did you play? Were you more of an arcade gamer or a home console type? Do you still play them now? If so, which games do you like? I was born at exactly the right age. Hiccuping should go away, by the way. I was born at exactly the right age so that I could get to be involved in the entire video game revolution. I mean, I got to play every single video game. I think I certainly haven't played all of them, needless to say, but I got in right at the beginning. In fact, I actually got in before the beginning of video games. First game I ever played, I played in high school, and in high school. In 1976 or 77, I went to the computer room in high school, and they had they had a teletype machine. They had the green and white printout paper with the sprockets down the side, and there was a modem, which literally you take a headphone, a telephone headset, and plug it into these 2 rubber cups, and it would communicate with the Dade County school system mainframe, and the baud rate was probably 3, and it would allow you to talk to the mainframe computer using the phone. Now, at that time, the first game I ever played on a computer was a Star Trek game, and it was a printout game. It wasn't even a video game. It just basically was a game where it would print out. It says, Klingon battlecruiser, range 6,000 kilometers, bearing 2 o'clock, command, ? and then it would print out 1 fire photon torpedoes, 2 fire phasers, 3 ray shields, 4 turn to the left, turn to the right, whatever it was. And so you type in 1 fire photon torpedoes, torpedoes firing, miss, Klingon battlecruiser fires torpedoes, hit on shield number 2 down to 14%. And you just played it on, it just printed stuff out. And I lost my mind. I couldn't believe how cool it was. I could not believe how cool it was. I would just stay there for hours, and we would stay there till 9 o'clock at night after school just to play this one game, because we're all Star Trek fiends, you know, and Star Trek had been off the air for 10 years by that point, I guess. And the funny thing I remember about that too is that if you took that modem, if you took it out of the thing, you'd hear a whistle, and it would just go. And if you whistled into the modem, literally it would be going. And if you went, you'd hit a tone, and it would respond. It'd go. Yeah, we were speaking modem to this mainframe, which probably had a, I don't know, 60,000 byte hard drive or something. So anyway, that was that. And then I got a Apple II. Got an Apple II right around 1979 or 80. And I don't remember how I paid for it for the life of me. I cannot remember how I paid for it. But right around 1980, I got an Apple II E, I want to say. Maybe I got an Apple II and then I got the IIe. But anyway, I definitely got the Apple II. Before that, I had seen a friend who had a TRS-80. And on the TRS-80, they had a cassette drive. You'd put a cassette into it. I know I sound like my own grandpa, which I'm getting to be. You'd put a cassette into this thing, and you'd hit play, and the software would be on the cassette. And it would take about 20 minutes to load a game that was probably 4 kilobytes. And I saw that and thought, eh. But then along came the Apple II, and the Apple II had a floppy drive, which was, holy cow, are you kidding me? Floppy drive? It's amazing. I forget what the memory was on that. It must have been, I don't know what the floppy memory was. I do remember this with crystal clarity. When I bought my Apple II, I decided to be a big spender, and I paid extra money, a lot of extra money, probably $1,000 or something extra, because I decided to go with the 64 kilobytes of RAM and not the 48 kilobytes of RAM. 64 kilobytes is a text document today. 64 kilobytes was the total RAM available to the system. And I loved it. And then on the Apple II, I played the flight simulator game. The flight sim Flight Sim 1 on the Apple II was completely wireframe. There was a mountain range, and it was perfectly flat. You could actually fly past the mountains. It was perfectly flat, and there were just a bunch of squares on the ground and a couple of lines, which were the runways. And there would be a little dot. You could fly down, get behind the dot, and kind of shoot it by hitting the space bar or something. It was supposed to be another airplane and stuff. And I spent years on that game. They had one at I worked in a geochronology lab, and they had a couple of Apple IIs there before I bought my own. And I'd get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I'd get down to work. I wouldn't have to be there till 9. I'd get there at 7 and let myself in and just play Flight Sim with a little joystick on the Apple IIe for 2 hours. And the same thing after work. And even that early, I started doing things like I'd take that Flight Sim up to as high as it would go, and then I'd just kill the engine and practice dead stick landings. And I did that with all of the Flight Sims that I ever got. I played all the all the Microsoft Flight Sims. I would take